If your PC lives in a cardboard box, does that make it homeless? I don't know. We're back with another PC roast. Actually, we're gonna be roasting PCs and setups today. 2 in 1 video, sweet. There are gonna be some of you who I'm only roasting your PCs and others of you I'm only roasting your setups, and then the rest of you I'll be roasting both. It just kind of depends on what's good in the hood. Full disclaimer, these types of videos are for entertainment purposes only. This is a comedy roast and all the people being featured understand and are fully aware that their pictures are being used for this type of video. For the rest of you, let's cut into our first victim. Starting with Drauga Drotten. Sits on a bookcase next to my desk. Not a fancy setup. Okay, so this is just a PC only roast here. Corsair Obsidian 900D, Asus Rampage 5 Edition 10, Core i7 5930K at 4.7 GHz, 2 GTX 1070 Seahawk EK GPUs, 64 gigs of G-Skill Ripjaws 4 at 2933, Samsung 850 EVO, Seagate Barracuda 2TB, Rosal Photon 1200, almost completely void of RGB. Don't really care about your cable management. Let's take a look at the front end though, shall we? Whoa, okay. All right, so first of all, this looks like, this kind of looks like the occult alphabet or something, right? Is that, I could be totally wrong, but it kind of looks like the occult alphabet. If I'm not mistaken, this looks like a pentagram on your water block, just a straight up pentagram. So if I'm putting 2 and 2 together here, is this a satanic build? Is that what we're looking at here? I mean, if so, I am personally the most deeply offended out of all of you, because this is blasphemy to the PC gods. At the very least, being damned forever means that this build will be going into a pit of fire at some point, and that brings me comfort, because my god, those 2 bends are eternal torture to my eyes, which I suppose means this really is the PC from hell. Look at these. I mean, why do they all look like they have erectile dysfunction? I don't understand. And to be honest, I really know nothing about the Satanic Bible, but I'm pretty sure one of the commandments isn't "thou shalt not be parallel." It looks like you were possessed when you tried to bend these. Seriously, you can find cleaner tubes up my butthole. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. Okay, all right, serious question, Drauga. How much of your blood did you put into this loop, and were the temps worth it? Get back to me. Also, I don't really know what this says, obviously, but it better be some cool dark spell stuff, right? Not something lame like, sorry the lighting was bad. I just hope it's legit. Black poster board everywhere, in every nook and cranny of this thing. You got black poster board here, right above the PSU area, even behind the motherboard. Like, is this really the best way to honor the Dark Lord with arts and crafts? I don't get it. To be honest, Drauga, if you sold your soul for this build, you should probably get a refund.
This video is sponsored by the Corsair One A100, featuring AMD Ryzen 3000 series processors and NVIDIA GeForce RTX graphics cards. The A100 is incredibly powerful for a compact gaming PC at just 12 liters. A fully water-cooled CPU and GPU delivers utmost cooling performance while maintaining an impressively low noise profile, offering a no-compromise solution that's ready for anything. To learn more about the Corsair One A100, click on the link below.
Moving on to Huefu? I don't know. Ryzen 5 2600, Asus EX 8320M Gaming Plus, 2 8GB sticks of PNY 3200 speed, RGB RAM, cast latency 16 power color RX 580 4GB model, deep cooled DA 600 watt unit, and some fans and a Gamex cooler, Rack Halia M micro ATX case. What the heck is that? 240GB SSD and stuff. All right, let's take a look at your PC really quick. This is just gonna be a quick one, but what is going on with okay, I'm sorry, but why does your heatsink have frostbite? You don't need to put CPU coolers in the freezer. Why do I even need to say this? I mean, honestly, I don't know what that is. Is it mold? Is it mold? Because I mean, if it's mold, your CPU cooler has expired. You should have put it in the freezer. Also, remove your power supply sticker. It's a sign of weakness and I hate you. That aside, I can't really say much more about this PC because the lighting in the picture is so bad. It probably wouldn't matter anyway. If all the lights were on and this was a really well-lit shot, I'm sure I'd say the same thing about your PC that my wife says about my face. It looks better in the dark. Let's just look at your setup. Oh my god, why is your PC so close to the edge of your table? Like your system is one flick shot away from falling over. And for the record, you know a setup is depressing when the PC is ready to jump. I mean, your system's at the end of his rope here. I mean, this is the only way out for him, okay? And why for the love of God, is your fragile computer that's worth hundreds of dollars at least receiving less protection than the pile of blankets nestled safely inside of a case? I mean, your priorities are so screwed up here. Come on, man. And you have so many blankets. How cold could it possibly be over there? Like, do you live in a box of Coors Light? I also don't understand how you have 1,000 pieces of cloth and you couldn't use one of them to clean the baseboards? So you've got two options here, all right? You can buy a stand for your PC, put the PC on the stand, and then put that next to your desk, either on the left or right side, or you can buy a completely new desk that's not perfectly sized for a Smurf. I mean, you've got some extra room here. This is free real estate. I suggest you use it. I'm also having a very hard time determining your age, because your PC hardware says Micro Center, but your chair says Fisher-Price. So, I don't know what's going on here. You know, Huefu, I don't know what the weight capacity of that chair is, but you'll know once your computer falls on it. Moving on to laundry. Laundry. This is my PC. It is a work in progress. AMD Ryzen 7 3700X, Asus ROG Strix B450F gaming motherboard, 1TB WD Blue hard drive, 16 gigs of Vengeance RGB Pro RAM, Antec 650 watt unit, GTX 1060 from MSI. This is my first build. I am 14. Wow, nothing says you're young like saying your age. Right? Like, you'll never hear someone go, this is a picture of my computer, and I'm 32. So your specs right off the bat here, and don't think that just because you're 14 I'm going easy on you, Mr. Laundry, okay? So the first thing I'll say here before we get into your actual build is you have very imbalanced hardware here. Not much you can do about it now, but for future reference, I would have handled this a bit differently. I would have gone down with the CPU, maybe get a Ryzen 5 CPU instead, unless you have an actual need for an 8-core Ryzen processor. I don't know. But in most cases, I think a Ryzen 5 would have been more well suited. Then take the money you save on that and spend it on things like an SSD. Even if it's a small capacity, it will go a long way. Get a case. You can get a really good budget case these days. And then maybe you could have also gotten a slightly faster GPU. Now I know that the savings on a Ryzen 5 chip probably wouldn't go that far, but if I'm looking again, it looks like you've got some really expensive RAM in here. You don't necessarily need Vengeance series RGB Pro RAM. You could have gotten something a lot cheaper there and also used some of that money towards those other things I just mentioned. That being said, let's look at your system. Oh my goodness. All right, it hurts me to see a 3700X in this with no SSD. Okay, and for the record, Laundry, I don't see this as a failed build. Okay, I see this as failed parenting. Clearly, mom and dad never taught you how to manage money. All right, this isn't your fault, Laundry. You may be 14, but that's still higher than mom and dad's credit score. Okay, you remember that. If your PC lives in a cardboard box, does that make it homeless? I don't know. At any rate, I know your case is recyclable, but it looks like garbage. Okay, that said, nice job here, Laundry. I do appreciate the cutouts, the fan mounts. There's a lot of attention to detail that was paid here. Best of all, the clean, minimalistic design. I mean, if you look at it, if you really look at this thing, it's basically an Inwin 905 with better airflow. So, you know, slow clap, good job Inwin. Your entire company just got outdone by a child who's bad with money. And not to inflate your ego or anything, Laundry, but I gotta tell you, this is the Tesla of cases, all right? It's environmentally friendly with terrible build quality. Like, oh my God, I know it says Lowe's on the box, but it looks like it's from UPS, if you know what I mean. All right, that's enough bashing on your system. Why don't we bash on your setup for a little bit really quick? There's not a whole lot to see here, all right? Apart from the fact that your mouse looks like Post Malone's face. I don't know why there's so much crap on it. I've also never seen so many cables descending from the sky. Where are they coming from? By the way, let's end this on a good note. Cool camo skin on your controller. You should camouflage your entire setup so we don't have to see it anymore. Michael, R5 3600X, Sapphire Nitro, 5700 XT, oh, Nitro Plus, excuse me, 16 gigs G-Skill 3600 RAM, 500 gig M.2, 1TB SSD, Gigabyte Aorus B450i motherboard, replaced stock NZXT fan with an ML140 Pro, and added two 140mm fans to the rear of case as exhaust. Okay, so this is the H1 case from NZXT, which is a very small Tawa Mini ITX small form factor build. And because of that, there's not a whole lot that I can really say about it, other than it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I'm not even gonna roast your PC. It ain't even worth it. Plus, you've got a gaming chair, and that makes it that much faster. Okay, so let's take a look at your setup here. There's a lot to talk about, including your PC. First of all, speaking of your PC, it's currently being desecrated by the PlayStation controllers that are bumping uglies on top of it, while poor Link processes the trauma. Look at him, he's frozen in shock. Or dual shock, rather. Poor dude's gonna need years of therapy after this. By the way, nice mouse pad. Although, what's the white stuff? Is that part of the design? Or are you just best friends with Charlie Sheen? Because I mean, this does look like the kind of place he'd be slumming it up at, just saying. I mean, you must be pretty well off if you can afford such expensive party favors. Then again, you do have an Apple Watch, so you're used to overpaying for things. I will say, what is with the massive glowing rock? There's a huge glowing rock on your desk. What, you couldn't afford a lifted truck, so you had to compensate with a rock instead? What's the deal? I mean, at the very least, congratulations. You finally gave women a reason to say, oh, it's so big.
That's what she said.
Don't tell me you believe that crystals have like magic powers and stuff. If you're one of those people, this is a total hippie alert. Why didn't I see it sooner? You are a friggin' hippie. You've got the artsy ocean drapes, you know, so you can feel one with the sea. Some ornamental pieces that you know, are from a culture you probably don't belong to, and plants, because Mother Nature, man.
These soil smoothies are bomb. I'm just overflowing with gratitude, bruh. I'm gonna go meditate on making my farts odorless.
You also have so many peripherals. Like, you may have a third eye, Michael, but you only have two hands, most likely. Okay, and if you're gonna display something like this on a wall, at least make it look nice. This looks like it was organized by the guys who made Fire Festival. Good Lord. You know what, Michael? I give this setup a 0 out of 10. But it's okay, Michael. Just keep telling yourself it's all a matter of perspective. Next, we've got Ibrahim. Ibrahim, I beg you, please do mine, please, please, please. Okay, Ryzen 7 3700X with a stock cooler, Asus TUF B450 Plus Gaming, RTX 2070 Super Zotac, 2x8 gig sticks of HyperX Fury DDR4 3200 speed, some drives, a monitor, not sure the casing, Razer not a keyboard. Okay, let's see. Your PC, I'm not really gonna roast your PC much because it looks fine. It's kind of boring. It's a boring PC, all right? It's just super boring. There's nothing much to say here. But let's look at your setup, because why? Why is it by a stairwell? Like, this is the weirdest spot for a gaming setup. Where's your bed? The kitchen? I just don't understand. How do you get any privacy here? Like, do you have your family knock on the handrail before they come down? What's going on? You have to be a literal ninja to sneak a beat in this household. This is some Mission Impossible. This is what I imagine Harry Potter setup looked like before Hogwarts, right? He's got the closet room under the stairs. Good Lord. I also love the irony that the astronaut on your wallpaper is in space and you don't have any. Maybe you're not old enough to have your own room, you know, considering that desk is probably older than you are. I mean, for all you know, it's the exact place where Grandma and Grandpa conceived one of your parents, which is why your mouse pad never slips. Now that you're officially disgusted, you can sell this desk so you can buy a bigger one and some walls. What does this sign say? Happiness is not a destination, it's a way of life. Wow, if this is your way of life, I hope I'm never happy, because damn. The other thing here is good job on getting your PC off the floor. Out of curiosity, do you do the bare minimum for everything in life? Why does the printer get dibs on top bunk? I don't understand. You know, on the bright side, Ibrahim, while most people would recoil in horror at the sight of this setup, you do have one fan. This one. Mohit, 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 Mohit. Core i5 4690K, MSI GTX 970, MSI Crate Z97 motherboard, Corsair Vengeance 16 gig DDR3 at 1600 speed, Crucial 500, and Intel. It's a lot of drives. That's a lot of drives in there. Cooler Master Devastator 3, keyboard and mouse, Philips 2, okay, and a BenQ panel. All right, let's take a look at your PC first, and holy mola. Okay, so clearly, you gotta respect Mohit. Clearly, he's the kind of guy who doesn't see color. Because if he did, something in this build would match. Whoever told you what RGB was lied to you. When you built this system, this was a weird time for PCs. Like, RGB was present, but it hadn't quite evolved to what it is today, right? So you can kind of see like the early stages, you got some RGB lighting on the card, but it's not quite there yet. And this was also a time when MSI had green video cards. They quickly squashed that out once they realized only weirdos were buying them. Mohit. You know, I see you have a Cooler Master power supply here. So Cooler Master, you know, reputable brand and stuff. I don't see an 80 plus badge though, and there's just a giant word that says caution. So that's a little concerning. The PSU, it looks a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I'm not gonna jump to any conclusions here. All I'm saying is that if the unit's called Thunder, expect some lightning. All right, let's look at your setup here, okay? In any other scenario, I would say put your PC on the table. But if you did in this case, it would collapse immediately. Whatever you've overclocked your 4690K to, I guarantee it's more stable than your table ever will be. And to answer your question, Mohit, no, not every game has motion blur. That's just your table wobbling back and forth. Also, fun fact, if you tie a string to that table, you can fly it as a kite. In fact, it's actually probably probably a good thing that you've strapped some peripherals to it so it doesn't fly away when a breeze comes in. Good strategery there. I'd love to joke and say those table legs are like toothpicks, but replacing them with actual toothpicks would improve the structural integrity. I'm sorry for grilling you so hard, Mohit. Let's end things on a good note, shall we? I really do love the clean, minimalistic decor here. Wow. Woo! I really do love the clean, minimalistic decor here. It really makes the peeling wall paint pop. Last but not least, we have Ashton Clare. All right, I'm not gonna look at your system, Ashton, because it's boring and you suck. All right, so let's take a look at the setup, which I don't really even know where to begin here. You know, Ashton, I really think you're lost. The show you meant to submit these pictures to is called Hoarders. There's a car seat. Oh God, there's a baby living here. I'm calling Child Protective Services and telling them there's a kid living in a house where Microsoft Edge is still on the taskbar. A serial killer is one thing, but I refuse to allow this kid to turn into an Edge user on my watch. This is a special picture because you can smell it. It reeks of diapers and Axe body spray. I will say at least you've got brick walls to keep the stench in for your neighbor's sake. Thank God for them. I'm also sure they don't want to babysit for the guy bringing down the property value of their neighborhood because let's face it, even though your house is made of brick, I'm pretty sure all 3 pigs live here. Also, nothing says good parenting like having all the baby stuff next to some alcohol and a furnace. At least they'll learn about chemistry at a young age. Man, the clutter is real here. But don't worry, Ashton, I can help you out, all right? You're pretty close. Your PC is almost in the optimal spot. Just push it back 2 feet, all right? You might have to open those glass doors behind it, but that should get it right where it needs to be. And while you're at it, just shove all that other crap in there with it. By the way, is that a rubber dome keyboard and a trackball mouse? Good Lord, man, who knew you'd be worse at gaming than parenting? I swear, you don't even have a small surface to put them on. Or is that what the baby's for, Father of the Year? This was a PC Roast. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for submitting all your pictures. I really, really appreciate it. Special shout out to everyone who was featured on today's video. You guys are awesome. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Toss a like before you go and subscribe for more tech content on the way very soon. Have a good one, and I will see you all in the next video. That doesn't really work when the camera's far away. But